welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone. So now it's time to speak to my very special guest for today, and that's Viola Edwards, who's also known as the Clarity Coach. Welcome to the show, Viola.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to see you again.
So, very successful lady, but first of all, things weren't always easy for you growing up. You had quite a tough childhood, didn't you? Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Yes, it's at the end that childhood who made me who I am today, but it was a little bit tough. Lost my father when I was 3 and have the first migration when I was like 5. But mainly the tragedy of the losing my father is that also my mom was pregnant and my sister was born a little bit ill, and then my mom has to focus on my sister. So in a way, from being a princess, only child in a family, I was like a little bit of an orphan in an early age, and become these like very, you will not believe it, but I was very dark, gray child and silent and like very absent in a way. So childhood was tough, and we moved then to Lebanon, my mom's country, at the age of 5, and at the age of 13 we moved to Venezuela because then the war was imminent in Lebanon, and many Lebanese went wherever they could go, and my mother had a brother in Venezuela. So at the age of 13 I had to stop schooling and start working because we were immigrants.
Working at 13?
Working at 13.
What were you doing at 13 then?
I started in shoe store and then hairdressing and then telephonist and then secretary. And this is the way how I stayed.
It's really hard from a very young age.
It was hard. It was hard, especially that I love studying, I love books. So I did homeschooling supervised by myself.
Oh, bless. So you did it yourself? Wow.
Yes,
so you were determined, even though you were going through such difficult circumstances, but you always had that inside of you, like, I want to get somewhere in life, I want to do
yes. I was, brilliant. My books were my, as a child, it was my refuge, and then when I had to stop schooling, it was like heartbroken in a way, but in the other way, now I can see it, then I couldn't see it, I become very free to design what is it that I wanted to study. So
that's what you call alternative education, isn't it?
Exactly. So I'm self-educated. But by the age of, because there is a problem when children stop schooling. We're talking about 70s anyway. No internet, no online things, and there is no a system to support children who have to stop school because they have to work. Because you needed to be over 18 to study at night. So I had that gap from 13 on, but later I find a place like they could accept at 16. I was 15.
Well, you found a way, didn't you?
Find a way, negotiate a little bit with my age, and I was such a good negotiator in that in that school that they let me in and they offered me a job. So I find a way to study, and also I find a new job as secretary at the same school. And what they offer me is that my study will be for free because I'm going to be working there. So I was very good.
Very good. Now let's fast forward now, Viola, to when you were now an adult. And what was it? What career did you choose? And then what happened there?
Well, in a way, I didn't choose. I stopped from secretary to public relation to work in embassies because I speak languages, and that was another savior because before 13, between 5 and 13, I have very good education, so I speak Arabic, I speak French, and then that helped me to be in an embassy. And later, life was developing, and I ended in insurance, in corporate insurance, the last 10 years of my 21 years working.
And were you enjoying that, what you were doing?
No, I was not enjoying that. I used to suffer a lot on that because I was in the area of numbers and marketing, and I suffer from dyscalculia, a dyslexia from numbers. So I didn't know back then, but what I knew that I used to make a lot of mistakes. I used to be very insecure about numbers, and remember also we're talking about 80s here. But I was like happy that I'm evolving. You are in a career, you have credit cards from the business, you have expenses paid, and you think this is it. Even if you're unhappy, you think, well, I'm lucky, so many people don't have jobs. And there is a feeling of being trapped in the apparently good thing, but it's not your thing. So
that's very interesting, isn't it? Because like you're saying, it's like you've got it all, but then something inside is kind of saying, well, actually, this isn't for you.
It's not for me, yeah. And I remember the last year was so hard, like when it started being hard to go to work. And I used to have an assistant, Emilia, that she would love that job. And one day I saw her and I saw, if I will not be here, she's the one who will have my job, and she will honor that job much better than I do, you know. So I started having the courage. Of course, all these years I kept studying, self-developing myself, and keep reading psychology and doing many courses, and you know, and then I had the courage, and one day I managed to quit. After 21 years.
Wow,
working.
that was a brave step.
It was.
Because it's something they were used to, gave security, all that kind of stuff.
I was terrified because, you know, you have expenses and you're used to, by then, you know, you're self-made, and I have family, I have a sister, a mother. And but I had a friend who told me, I know you're ready, go for it, I'll help you. She said, I'll help you. I remember she took her checkbook and gave me a check.
Wow.
And I think that sometimes this is what you need. It's not the money, the quantity of money. It was like, I'm there. For somebody like me with this orphanity subject on my shoulder, it was very important. So
okay. So tell us what you actually achieved then. When you left the job, what did you start doing?
Then I went to training, to breathwork training and coaching, and come back, and it was my thing, and in less than 1 year, I was all over the places. TV, radio, magazine, newspaper. I was like a star. I was finally in my niche. It was the 90s, early 90s in Venezuela. And it was, we were talking with my friend today, how in South America and North America, self-development and coaching and workshop and training was a boom much before Europe, actually. So I was in the correct place with the correct subject at the correct time, with wonderful age. I was 34 years old, with 21 years of experience working for others. So I was just there, perfect.
Wow, it worked out really well then for you.
Very well, very well. And then later I created this center for breathwork and coaching and start training people. I will have doctors coming to train with me, psychologists. And also later created Edward Consult, Holistic Business Consultancy, which was taking the subject of emotion to business, you know, like go back to business, because I know then what is it that we suffer from in business and what is it that we need. So start working about in the business language and sustainable productivity, how to work in the emotionality in business. And we're talking about 90s, you know. It was
something completely new.
It was wonderful.
And tell us about the Feminine Capital as well, Viola.
Well, Feminine Capital is that in the years that I was working for corporate and starting to work at 13 and having to face the world at such a short age, I think I kind of went into my masculine side. When I changed my career and started working for others, and one day I kind of learned that, oops, I have traded something very precious to survive that world, and I want it back. So I retrained myself, the way how I work, the way how I talk, the way how I dress, to be feminine again, you know. And that was...
So it's funny, because sometimes I know maybe some women in business think, oh, well, you need to be like a man, act like a man to be taken serious in business, when actually females have so many lovely qualities. Good for business. You don't have to act in a certain way. Just be yourself. You know, your feminine side is amazing.
Yes, also it's the empathy, it's the listening actively, it's the creativity. So when we think that we have to fit in the man world, and okay, some of us, we had to. It was the 70s. We had to, because the world was designed for men. But that now is another word. Now we have, back then we didn't have women models to follow. We had only men models to follow.
Now we do.
But now we have. So it breaks my heart, literally, to see women getting into this masculine way of even not masculine, the dark side of the masculine, when we become not communicative, not sharing, not trusting, quite cruel, fighting, very competitive, confusing what is the ambition and the nice competition to improve, to the other competition to take people out of our ways because there is not enough for everybody. So my role in the Feminine Capital Rhythm and the way how I do those Feminine Capital Forum around the world is about saying to women, look, your capital is your femininity. And we all have beautiful thing from the masculine, beautiful thing from the feminine. So let's have the bright side of them and move into a sphere beyond the concept of feminine and masculine, into what is unique about the individual. And together we can do a sustainable world. This is my subject.
Amazing.
Yes.
So Viola, you've achieved so much, and it sounds like it's been keeping you really busy, but you still found time to write some books as well. How did you find the time to do that?
I have achieved a couple of things that I'm going to mention very quickly. One is to be married for a long time because I could not get stable in a relationship. So this year is my 14 years marriage, which is a blessing.
Wow.
Good relationship and walking, going through what is a conscious relationship. And from that, in 1999, I wrote a book about positive thinking and purpose and vision. And this year, I published one about relationship, about how to nurture intimacy into relationship beyond the myth. Doesn't matter how, if we older, if we are going through illnesses, if our body change shape, is intimacy in relationship is the precious thing, is the friendship, is the base, and how to keep that passion going through intimacy. So this is the book we.
Any other plans then for the future? Because you're probably not going to stop here, are you?
No. I'm doing another one called Have We Met? It's about the importance of relational capital, because at the end of the day, I'm a relational being. This is my major quality, and doesn't matter how many countries I have moved, changed. We are here together because the way how we relate when we met. So I want to write it and make program about how important it is to understand the beauty and the kindness of the relational capital. And keep going and creating more programs and keep at service of humanity, of course, and make an honorable living from it.
Brilliant. Viola, thank you so much. It's been absolutely lovely speaking to you.
Pleasure.
Well, guys, after the break, we have more for you. We have a performance by Michael G. McDermott, and I'll be giving you my top tips on how to gain an alternative perspective in life. But first, how many alternative schools were there in the UK last year? Is it A, 14, B, 140, or C, 1,400? Find out the correct answer after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone. Now, before the break, I asked you how many alternative schools were there in the UK last year. Was it A, 14, B, 140, or C, 1,400? The answer is B, 140.